Nigeria's justice system is manipulated to favor influential politicians while petty thieves are jailed, says Femi Falana. Hello everyone, and welcome to the news. Human rights lawyer Femi Falana says the justice system in Nigeria is constantly manipulated to favor influential politicians facing corruption charges in Nigeria. Falana stated this on Tuesday in a paper titled "Sentences Rich and Poor Convicts in Nigeria, an Unbalanced Scale," delivered as the inaugural public lecture of Department of Public and International Law, Faculty of Law, Ajayi Crowther University, Oyo State, according to a statement by Tayo Shoyemi of the Falana and Falana Chamber. He condemned the impunity in some quarters, which has caused rich and influential people to become untouchable, while the poor and underprivileged suffer for those crimes. He said, since they have the money, they can influence and manipulate the justice system in their favor. Consequently, such persons commit crimes and get away with them, owing to corruption and abysmally compromised system. They could even have the backing of the government. According to him, some persons who were arrested for crimes have been convicted, sentenced and jailed, but have never been found in any correctional center, while unemployed young people serve prison terms in lieu of rich convicts. He also condemned the involvement of the government in cases involving the rich. For political reasons, the trial and conviction of the rich are often interfered with, he said. Falana noted, judges could even be coerced into favoring those rich offenders against their own will. But there is often no one to speak for the poor, who often have no voice of their own. On the few occasions that the rich are convicted, they are usually granted pardon by the president and state governors. He also described corruption as a major factor against the fair administration of justice in Nigeria. Oftentimes, rich defendants engage in dilatory tactics which frustrate and compel the state to enter into plea bargain with them. Judges award lighter sentences to convicted rich defendants or resort to technicalities to free them. Otherwise, how could someone that embezzled pension funds worth billions of naira be sentenced to only 6 months imprisonment, but another who stole a cheap telephone handset be sentenced to 10 years imprisonment? Falana decried the increased injustice against poor people as more attention is being paid to cases involving the rich as opposed to the poor. The lawyer highlighted cases of plea bargain, including that of Tafa Balogun, the former Inspector General of Police who was involved in 17 billion naira saga, former Governor of Bayelsa State, Depriye Alaimasia, Lucky Gbenedion, the former Governor of Edo State, who was fined the sum of 3.5 million naira after he had entered into a plea bargain with EFCC to reduce the 191 counts against him to just a single count. He also cited the case of John Yusuf, who embezzled 27.2 billion naira pension fund of retired police officers. Mrs. Cecilia Ibru, the former Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director of Oceanic Bank PLC. He also added, the case of FRN versus Abdul Rashid Maina is one of the few that made a little difference. Maina, who was charged with criminal offenses punishable under Section 11, Subsection 2A of the Money Laundering Prohibition Act and also acted in breach of the Advanced Fee Fraud Act, was in November 2021 convicted and sentenced to 8 years imprisonment after being found guilty on all the 12-count charge the EFCC preferred against him and his company. The court ordered Maina and his firm to forfeit about 2.1 billion naira that was traced to their bank account, as well as another sum of $223,000 to the federal government, after which it directed that the company should be wound up. It also ordered the forfeiture of Maina's 2 choice properties at Life Camp and Jabi districts of Abuja to the government. Likewise, the auction of a bulletproof car and a BMW 5 Series exotic car that was found in premises of the convict. He added, between 2005 and 2006, the panel of inquiry instituted by the federal government found that 197 defendants who were tried, convicted, and jailed for drug trafficking were not found in any correctional center in the country. At the end of their trials, members of a syndicate made of prosecution and defense lawyers, court clerks, and warders collected heavy bribes from the convicts and allowed them to escape imprisonment. It was found that the convicts returned to the nefarious business. I took up the matter with the authorities of the NDLEA, who assured me that the convicts would be arrested and made to serve the prison terms, but that was the end of the story. On July 10, 2015, the then Chief Judge of Anambra State, the Honorable Jů.Stice Umeadi, visited all prisons in the state for the purpose of jail delivery to decongest the prisons. His Lordship disclosed that some prison inmates have no records in the prisons. The scandal was well reported at the material time. Since inmates are committed to prisons by warrants issued by judges and magistrates, the authorities of the correctional centers are challenged to explain who authorized the imprisonment of inmates without records. Awaiting trial, inmates constitute not less than 75% of the prison population in the country. The majority of the inmates, including convicts, are poor people. The few rich people and members of the ruling class that are jailed are usually pardoned by the president and state governors in the exercise of their powers under Section 175 of the Constitution. Based on the recommendation of President Muhammadu Buhari, the Council of State has just approved the pardon of a number of convicted persons, including 2 former state governors that were jailed for laundering billions of naira. Since the Constitution provides for equality of all citizens before the law, all other persons convicted for stealing, fraud, and money laundering ought to be pardoned and freed. There can be no moral or legal justification for jailing poor people who steal spaghetti and noodles to feed their family members, while those who loot the treasury are granted clemency or pardon. In conclusion, permit me to call on the poor, who constitute the majority of poor victims of the institutionalized criminal justice system, to unite and fight for social, economic justice and equity before the law. In particular, indigent accused persons are advised to brief lawyers in the Legal Aid Council and the Office of the Public Defender in every state of the Federation to provide them with legal practitioner whenever they are arrested, detained, or charged with any criminal offense. It is the responsibility of the state to assign lawyers free of charge to citizens who earn less than the national minimum wage of 30,000 naira. The law is not neutral in a class society. It is made and enacted by rich legislatures to serve the interests of the rich. The judge interprets the law to favor the rich and powerful people to society. The big lawyers hired to defend the rich exploit loopholes and technicalities in the law to free their rich clients. Hence, the poor man who stole noodles in Abuja to feed himself was jailed by an upper area court. Even though he had no more to feed himself, the judge sentenced him to 6 months imprisonment or 20,000 naira fine. While the former top public officers who laundered $9.8 million and 74,000 pounds had been set free by the Federal High Court, the judge blamed the EFCC for not proving the case beyond reasonable doubt. The disparity in the sentences of rich and poor convicts in Nigeria is one of the negative factors affecting the administration of criminal justice in the country. The main factor behind this problem is the fault in the justice system operated by the Nigerian courts. Owing to the class character of the society, the courts and law enforcement agencies tend to favor rich convicts against the poor convicts. This problem has caused the public to lose hope and trust in the country's judicial system. Drastic major steps must be taken to address the issue of disparity in sentencing to ensure justice, fairness, and equality before the law for all victims. So this is what Femi Falana San has said. In a nutshell, in reality, it is what is obtainable in the Nigerian society. The rich get away with a lot of things, even when they need to face the law, whereas the poor are left alone, with little or no support because of the disparity in wealth. That is the sad situation we found ourselves in as Nigerians, And it's quite sad because, even like he said, 2 politicians, the governor and the other person, were freed days ago, despite stealing so much money from the National Treasury. That's the sad situation we found ourselves, and we can only do the needful by making our society a saner place to live. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next news. Bye for now.